As humans, we will consume about 20 kilos of plastic over our lifetime. Some of these compounds found in plastics are known to have serious health consequences and are known to affect hormones and sometimes even human fertility. Plastic gets into the marine environment through wastewater from our washing machines, through face washes that we wash down the sink, and then once it gets into the marine environment, it is consumed by marine creatures, which then we in turn consume, taking the plastic into our own bodies. In addition, a lot of plastic is just dumped in the ocean. That plastic is broken down over time into smaller and smaller micro pieces, which again is consumed by marine animals and by seabirds. Even 20 years ago, before the explosion in plastic that we've seen recently, scientists failed to find a single seabird in the whole of Scotland that didn't have plastic in its stomach. The other issue with plastic is that it is manufactured from synthetic materials which are derived from fossil fuels such as coal, oil and natural gas. These are all very carbon intensive minerals that we need to be phasing out as we move towards net zero. The process we currently use to make plastics is only increasing our demand for petroleum-based products and therefore perpetuates our dependence on these non-renewable and unsustainable resources. We actually need to be designing our systems to phase out waste altogether and keep products and materials in constant use. Therefore, single-use plastics are totally unsustainable in this type of model. This is because packaging made from petroleum-based materials does not degrade naturally and therefore by definition is not sustainable. It's estimated that just the extraction of fossil fuels and their transportation to plastic factories emits up to 1.5 million metric tonnes of greenhouse gas. This is clearly not sustainable for our environment to be able to cope with and is exacerbating climate change. If we can get rid of plastics, we can make a real dent in some of the climate problems. As an example, we recently went on holiday to Greece where they don't have fresh water. So people are using plastic bottles of water on a daily basis just for their basic water needs. And because of that, we had no choice but to buy bottled water. And just over the space of 3 days, a family of 4, we used 36 litre and a half plastic bottles of water while we were there, with no obvious place on the island to recycle these bottles. Clearly that is a totally unsustainable situation and needs to be dealt with soon. Because every plastic bottle made takes a huge amount of energy. It can take 10.2 million joules of energy to produce 1 litre bottle of water. Whereas for tap water, it's about 0.0005 joules of energy to produce water coming out of the tap. The world is currently producing about 300 million tonnes of plastic a year, which, as we've already said, is not degrading. Therefore, we are creating a completely unsustainable situation.
So I choose to home recycle whenever I can, just because I'm trying to reduce my impact where I can. But actually, more than just recycling everything, I'm trying to buy from zero waste stores where there's no packaging at all and nothing to recycle.
My friend and I decided that there was too much plastic in the world, too much food waste, people buying huge amounts of food in supermarkets, and we are really anti-corporate greed. So we wanted to eliminate a little piece of the corporate greed alongside food shopping and make sure that people could buy as little or as much as they wanted and keep our prices really competitive. So a typical day for us would involve 30 to 40 customers in person, and then we do a lot of online as well. So we post next day delivery UK-wide, and we do that all in biodegradable packaging, which is really important to us. So plastic's a really unsustainable, really dangerous thing. It was hailed in the early 20th century as a breakthrough for pharmaceuticals, for food, and actually what it is a global tragedy. We've realised it's completely unsustainable. Even compostable plastics, there isn't always the infrastructure to actually compost them because it requires commercial composting. And in fact, it just needs to be eliminated completely, and governments need to do more to do that. How we help with the issue with our small little shop is that we have zero plastic, everything's in good old brown bags, or people bring their own containers, and we're really helping to fight against plastic waste by doing that and campaigning for local changes.
%55% of plastic ends up in landfill in the UK. I understand it's 90% in the US. That is just totally unsustainable. The amount of energy, the amount of effort that is required to produce everything that then gets thrown away in our disposable society just cannot continue. Something has to be done. It's easy to think that this is somebody else's problem, but it's not. It's got to start with you. It's got to start with us. So where you can, we should be stopping using plastic bags, plastic packaging, making sure that when you do have plastic, that you recycle it and use plastics that can be recycled. Better than that, use glass jars, use things that you can wash and really recycle at home. Let's not forget, plastic is an incredibly useful product. It has totally transformed our lives. So we're not advocating not using plastic, it's just more responsible use of plastic. So where you can, recycle, use plastics that can be recycled, and then those can be used to make new bottles or containers or whatever it might be, or much cleverer things like new fibres for textiles and carpets and fantastic new uses. It's even possible to remove plastic from the oceans, reuse those into permanent items such as rugs and other textiles. What a fantastic way to start sorting out the problem of disposable plastics.
It's been here since November 2020, so almost a year now. She started this business to try and reduce plastic waste within the community, and the aim was to stop plastic waste and food waste. It depends. On weekends we'll normally get about 60 customers, 70 customers a day. During a weekday it'll probably be about 50 to 60. I feel like it's just too much of it. We need to try and reduce, and if we do create products, need to biodegradable, because the stuff we've got at the moment it doesn't work. It's not sustainable in any way. I think they like the idea of how it's very personalised almost, because you can have a chat with people, you can take your time, it's not rushed. It's all better for the environment. I think people like that aspect of it a lot more as well.
I like to shop here because it's cheaper and healthier, and it's good for the environment.